5 steps Ryan Day needs to take to get this team right in 2 weeks to take on Tennessee. Cory, don't make me laugh. I am taking this serious tonight. Here we go. I will give the 5 steps. I'll give each step, and then I'll allow Cory and Chris to respond. And chat, feel free to respond tonight as well. And then we'll see where this leads us to. Here we go. Number 1, Ryan Day needs to boost his confidence. Now, there are several ways you can do this.
Sorry, laughing.
There are several ways you can do this, all right?
I'm good enough. I'm smart enough, and God, people like me.
I'm taking this serious, Chris, and you're doing an old Saturday Night Live reference from back when the show was funny. Ryan Day has a serious confidence issue. I think I've narrowed it down to where the fella just isn't confident right now, and he needs to get that fixed. Whether that's through divine intervention or sports psychology or more sit-down meetings with Jim Tressel, whatever the case, he's got to get that confidence boosted. All right, Cory. Go ahead. Let me have it.
What's he going to do? They're going to hypnotize him or something?
I've got it. I've got it, Cory. You ready? Here's the solution. He's going to hop on a plane. He's going to fly to Vegas and visit one of them special ranches to prove that he can score.
Oh, man. Boost his confidence. I mean, I don't know how you do that in 2 weeks. I mean, what do you get in the mirror every morning and just like, you can do this. You can, come on, man. I don't know. What do you do to boost your confidence in 2 weeks? I've never heard of that. I mean, he's going to have to literally be hypnotized, be a completely different. Maybe they could hypnotize him and make him think he's Nick Saban, and then we could make a difference in the next couple of weeks. I don't think that's going to help him. I think he's kind of playing for his job. He's coaching for his job right now. I don't know what in the world he's going to do to boost his confidence.
In all seriousness, Eric, I think what he needs to do is be locked in a room at least 3 hours a day for the next 2 weeks with Urban Meyer ripping everything he does apart and then Jim Tressel putting him back together. Get those guys in there to talk to the guy.
Good cop.
Let him know what he's doing right, what he's doing wrong, and how he can fix it.
But I don't think treating him like a child's going to make him confident. That's the problem. I mean,
you know what? Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Who knows? Maybe hearing somebody that actually could beat that team up north, like Tressel, say, "No, you can do this," might do something for him.
It'd be funny if they both went in there and said, "Now you're screwed, dude." I don't know what to tell you.
All right.
Yeah.
When we get to number 5, number 1 will make more sense. I knew you guys would make fun of number 1. I get it. But to take a more serious note and to flip this around, I do believe that a lot of the issues we have, especially in play calling and in his design of what he's doing, is from a lack of confidence, especially in the game. Okay.
Before you just start on number 2, can I put something serious in there with that though? Mm-hmm. I mean, I think if I were him, I would take and look at my old offensive coordinator game footage. I would go back and watch the way I called games as an offensive coordinator when I wasn't worried about being the CEO. Look at the fire. Look at the innovation. Look at how aggressive he was. And try to remember the person that he was and see what he was capable of doing when he didn't have the weight of the world on his shoulders. The second thing he needs to do is make sure he's got all his social media turned off. And I'm being very serious about that.
Not listening to us and probably
not listening to us. Yeah.
Oh man, if he misses these 5 steps, what's he going to do?
Now you weren't here with us, Cory, but we didn't think that anybody related to the program actually listened to us. But man, we had Jonathan Wells call in on Thursday night.
Yeah, Jonathan Wells is chatting right now with us, man.
Oh,
he's saying, yeah. Hey, he's telling us to stop it. Coach Tress has talked to him plenty times. Players got to play, make plays in the game. He
That's
ain't
facts,
wrong.
Jonathan. That's facts.
We have a super chat, $5. This is going to be going to 2nd and 7. Thank you, Zoe's father. Jesus Gomez or Jesus Gomez is a kicker. I'll take Jesus as my kicker. Is a kicker in the portal from Eastern Michigan. Big leg lefty kicker. Get on it, Ryan.
Oh man,
Yes.
can you imagine the T-shirts we can come up for that with that one?
Jesus saves and
Yeah.
kicks field goals. Yes, absolutely,
Oh,
absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot to that. Okay, number two. Let's keep this train rolling. Adjust the offensive line. The biggest issue we have, in my opinion, is the offensive line. Now, what adjustments need to be made? I would like to see them try to maybe tweak a few things to try to make sure that we're getting a better push in running the football.
we know what we'd like to see, Eric. We talked
Okay,
about
Chris, this is where you get to chime in. Go for it.
it. Okay, I think you've got to start Padilla at center. You got to put Hensman back out there at guard.
Hensman was kicking butt at guard.
He was being brutal at the guard position. I think that we need to get that back out there. And just the other thing is, and I know that Mr. Wells probably is going to give me a little flack for saying this, but I think we got to call those plays that are going to be working for the benefit of our line. That's the big thing. When you've got injuries, you've got to coach to the talent you've got on the field. You've got to put them in a position to make plays and win. The way you do that is you get the right personnel out there, first of all. Definitely that's moving Hensman back out there to guard. Giving Padilla his shot at center. If it doesn't work, you've got the opportunity to change it back if you do it early enough.
Oh,
but
boy.
you got to give it a few quarters, at least a quarter and a half to try it and see how it goes.
I think it was Doug Lays Maurice was saying that he didn't understand why when Ryan Day talked on Wednesday about what went wrong in the Michigan game, that he started to realize things that like literally every single one of us were realizing by quarter two. So as far as Ryan Day saying it's not working, we're going to leave it. I don't trust him to do that. I agree that if you got to at least try something. I was thinking the same thing, Chris. Padilla at center, move Hensman to guard. You got to keep Jackson at left tackle. Don't even attempt to look at Fitzpatrick or Mikowski.
No.
Don't even bother with that. Jackson's serviceable as a left tackle. Hensman was kicking butt at guard. I like the idea that we start instead of trying to run straight at people, which seems to be our just a weakness. I'm starting to think that maybe you start pulling a lot more. We seem to have a little bit more wiggle room in the run game against Michigan when we were pulling our side of the right side of the line and things like that, trying to get off of that. I want to say C gap, but instead of going right in the A gap and just like, hey, Mason Graham, how you doing? But I don't know. Ryan Day, more than anything with the line, is he can't have this whole, well, we're going to ram it down their throat and prove we're tough attitude about it. Got to understand what we have a banged up, inexperienced in the middle offensive line. It will be an experience if they do move to Padilla. I'm kind of curious what they do with Shabola. There's some rumors going around about him, but that's from Buckeye Scoop. You take it for what you want. I'm not gonna express what they are because they're not necessarily bad in nature, but just some things they've said they're negative about the kid. I don't want to repeat it; they're not true. But kind of interested they stick with him on that one. But if they do, Hensman's obviously the strength of the interior line. Shabola's up and down at best, and Padilla's new. Don't think that that's where your strength is when you're running the football. I'd actually argue the strength is probably Donnie Jackson and Josh Fryer at that point. So try the edges, but adjust the offensive line, of course. I agree with Chris on what he said to adjust it to, and run to the strength. Don't try to say, hey, Padilla, how tough are you, and then try to give him an impossible task on his first game.
Okay. So those are your comments to the second one. I'm not going to sit here and say, here's how I would adjust it. I just know you got 2 weeks to try to get something fixed that was obviously broken a week ago. Number 3, make sure you are on the same page with Chip and be willing to dedicate themselves or yourselves to whatever works. Chris, you're shaking your head.
Yeah, you're right, because you know what? We saw them come out at the beginning of that game versus the team up north, and they ran to the outside a little bit. They passed a little bit to help open the run. They went with a little bit of tempo from time to time, and then they just stopped. What was working, they stopped and decided they were going to just start doing this. Oh, we're going to be the tough running guys now. You got to face the fact that you have built a finesse team. Don't go away from it. Embrace what you are. You are not a tough running team, but you've got a couple of good backs who can complement a very good passing game that is led by a veteran quarterback and the best receiving room in the country. And you play to that strength. You don't go away from what works. And you talk about Chip and Ryan being on the same page. A lot of what I've heard is that was very much the problem in that game versus the team up north, where maybe the calls that Chip was sending in weren't always the plays that were being called on the field. Take it for what it's worth.
I definitely think Ryan Day inserted himself in the game plan against Chip, and I definitely think Ryan Day is very sensitive to the idea that people call him soft. I don't know. I mean, I was talking with Brandon on the therapy session, and he was saying he doesn't really buy that. I respectfully disagree with Brandon a little bit on that. Where
I do too.
I don't think Ryan Day's doing it out of malice. I just think he's doing it because he's sensitive to the issue that people find him soft. I agree, Chris, 1,000%. You have built a team, as Kirk Barton put it, that is built for domes. Embrace what you are. Don't be ashamed of it. Colin Cowherd even said the same thing. Don't be ashamed of it. Don't run from it. That's who you are. You got the best receivers in college football. Use them. Find different creative ways to use them to your advantage. Honest to God, and I'm not trying to knock Tress, but in 2004, when he had Ted Ginn Jr. and Santonio Holmes, and we were misusing them week after week after week, it didn't stay that way. They figured it out eventually in time. But I remember reading in the TV Guide, back when those existed, about that. about that game specifically, and it literally said in the description, "Tune in this week to see how Jim Tressel misuses Santonio Holmes."
Oh, man. Ouch.
And I feel like I'm saying that about Ryan Day right now with Emeka Egbuka, Carnell Tate, and Jeremiah Smith. It's like, tune in against December 21st to see how he misuses them again, and then blames it on, it was really cold out. I'm sorry, but this is the team you've built. You've got to play to that strength, and he seems almost ashamed to do it because, well, man, Midwesterners think I'm soft. And it's like, you know what? I'll tell you what. This is the truth right here. If you beat that team up north doing it by your way, nobody's going to question you. Nobody's going to say, "Oh, you're soft."
No.
If you win that game, nobody's going to care that you didn't run it for 300 yards. Nobody's going to care. Just win the game, and then people will not question how you do things.
Okay. Number 4. Let's jump on to number 4. We got 2 more to go. All right. This one, I will have to explain myself. Here we go. Number 4. Coach like you have already been fired. Let me explain what I mean. You have to have I don't care. At this point, I'm letting it all hang out. I'm just going to go out there and almost like I've already been fired and just go play this game like there's zero consequences. I'm going to do whatever it takes to win this game. Example. Last game that Earl Bruce coached in.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State beat that team up north after he had already been fired.
Mm-hmm.
And that team went to the wall for that man to win that game, right? I feel like this roster respects Ryan Day. Listen, you don't commit to the program unless you respect and trust that head coach. Now, a lot of players will tell you that it's their position coaches, that they spend all the time with, who recruited them, et cetera, et cetera. But the head man is the head man, right? And there is zero doubt in my mind that this roster respects and wants to win for Ryan Day. Now, I think it was a week ago, Cory, you said you don't want the players to win for Ryan Day. You'd rather them win for themselves, right?
I don't think that was
win
me.
win for the program, win for Ohio State. And I get that. But we're talking about Ryan Day here. Ryan Day needs to coach. Like, he's already been fired, and just go out there and, well, you fired me. Let me show you what you just fired, and then coach that way. So this is related to number 1, but number 4, I feel like, has a lot to do also with number 3. Remember Georgia, the difference we saw as a play caller from him in that Georgia game all those years ago. He needs to coach that way again.
I agree with it. Oh, go ahead, Cory.
Oh no, go ahead. Yeah, I agree. He needs to just go in and, like you said, let it hang out and just say, "Look, I'm fired anyway if I lose this game. So what's the point of losing it and leaving it and going off the field and saying I regret not doing this, I regret not doing that? Don't have any regrets. Don't leave the field with regrets, and don't leave the field stubbornly saying, "Well, I had the right game plan," like he did against that team up north. Go in there and look. I understand none of us want to lose, but I would rather lose swinging. I'd rather lose fighting like crazy, not lose to a team that we feel like we should absolutely throttle this team. Why are we holding back? It doesn't make any sense. Where nothing makes any sense. If they go out and lose to Tennessee, but you can tell they gave it everything, they threw the kitchen sink, they gave it everything they had. It just wasn't meant to be. I'm not going to say he should keep his job, but I'll say, you know what? He tried his best. I didn't feel like he could have done anything different. And he tried winning the way that we're built, and I can respect that. It just doesn't work. And but I won't have as much of a complaint with him if he loses, if he goes out and just, like you said, coaches like his hair is on fire, like he's already been fired. Like, it doesn't matter. Let it all hang out.
Jonathan Wells says, but Chip calls the plays, right? To my understanding, yeah, he has been. Should he take his OC position? Should he take back his OC position? I mean,
if I'm coaching for me, Eric, I mean, my job's on the line. I'm going to do whatever it takes to win.
Mm-hmm. Which is why I said this relates back to number 3. Make sure you are on the same page with Chip, and be willing to dedicate yourselves to whatever works, right? So if indeed you're going to trust Chip to call the plays, then you guys need to make sure that you're on the same page and you trust him, but allow Chip to cook. If you don't, then absolutely you need to take the call playing back from this point on, which also means that you failed in hiring that OC to a degree. I get it. I understand that, but we're at a place now where you have to win. It's win or go home. So you might as well just let it all hang out and go for it all. Yes, Chris, go for it.
No, you guys are absolutely right. You go out there. But here's been Ryan Day's biggest, well, I've noticed, I think some of his best coach games are great until there's a hiccup in the game plan. You look, the minute he has a hiccup in his game plan, the minute he's thrown off at all, seems to be when he gets himself in trouble. When Harrison goes down. When we lose Simmons against Oregon earlier this year. When you have people telling you you're not tough enough. Anytime something gets in his head,
mm-hmm.
He instantly just loses who he is. He starts playing scared. He cannot play scared. He cannot play scared at all. He cannot coach with any fear. He's just got to go out there, and like Cory said, you leave it all on the field. You empty that playbook.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you got over the course of this stretch, you are playing for your life. You are playing for your life here at Ohio State. Make no mistake. I know people think I'm crazy, but he is playing for this job right now.
He is.
Because if he does not, And I know everybody says I'm crazy when I say if he doesn't win the national championship, he's out. I really think that's the case. But even if you go with the people who are being softer, if he doesn't make an impressive run, he's out.
Zoe's Padre, $1.99 super chat. Thank you, Zoe. Just win, baby.
Amen. And Chris,
Yeah.
I'm going to be on your side here. I don't think you're crazy at all. I think he loses this game, he's gone. I think there's a very short window for Vrabel right now because he's getting interest for the Bears and the Raiders. But if the regular season's still going, even by the time we play our playoff game, if he loses that first round and they know for sure we're done with Ryan Day, I think they make a call of Mike right away.
Interesting. Number 5. All right, here we go. This is where I'm probably going to get myself into trouble here. YouTube, what I'm about to say is not literal. Want to make that clear. Ryan needs to become a killer.
Oh, I can't be a part of this.
He lacks the instinct, man. You're right. He lacks the instinct.
I mean, a guy who says love conquers all, I don't know how he becomes a killer. So
he's got to find it.
I agree. When 2019, when he said "Let them feel our violence," I was like, "Oh man, that's cool. I like that opening line." When they're about to play Clemson, and they were a physical, nasty football team back then. They're not going to become that in 2 weeks, but at least inspire the team to go out there and have a killer instinct. I don't know if he can find it.
You know what? I don't think he has to. You said the key word there is inspire, because I don't think that he has to look real hard to find it inside these players. He just actually has to bring it out. It's in there. These players are playing at a high. They were playing at a high level in high school. They are competing at the highest level in college football.
You can't tell me the defense was on fire against
North. These guys have it in them to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta just unleash them and let them do it.
I don't know how, but he's got to find that inside of him. The college football playoff is not a place for is not going to be a place for the faint of heart. It is going to be eat or be eaten. And I have a feeling that the college football playoff is a place where it doesn't care about your feelings, and it doesn't care about what your ranking is or how many 5 stars you recruited. It's going to be a place of win and survive and move on. And by the time you get to the end of this thing, it might be whichever roster is the healthiest is going to win it all. Now, that being said, you need to become a killer to do that. That means when you have the opportunity to step on your opponent's throat, you have to take those opportunities. And it's a mindset, right? Which is why I said number 5. We come full circle and it goes back to number 1. Ryan needs to find that confidence in between his ears as a head coach, possibly as a play caller, whatever that means, to go into this thing with complete confidence in his roster, his coaching staff, the playbook, all of it. And leave, as he says, leave no doubt, because all he's done this year since the beginning of the season has left doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're at that point where, because of that, we're going into this thing, and there's how many? 136 Division I football teams now?
Right. Yeah.
Something like that.
Too many, yeah.
And 12 of them make it. And we're one of the 12. And here we are sitting here today, and it's like, I hope we don't embarrass ourselves. That's kind of where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I see Johnny in the chat, because
this is a perfect comment, Chris.
Do you think that team up north might just be what sparked this team? Maybe not the coaches, but the team gets their fire going. Do you think what happened after the game last Saturday does something to the mindset of these players that maybe kicks them over into that mode?
You asking me or Corey?
Either one.
Well, I posted it on X earlier, and I meant what I said. I have all the faith in the players, zero faith in the staff. I have
Yeah.
no issue with the players. Players go out there and play their hearts out. They don't play perfect, but they play their hearts out. Coaching staff, I blame them for the loss against TTUN. I think the players went out there and they were fired up and they played hard, especially the defense played their guts out trying to win that game. And I think the coaching staff completely screwed them left and right on that one. I mean, outside of the kicker, that wasn't the coaching staff. That was just a kicker being bad. But okay, I'll put it this way. The only two players I don't trust are the punter and the kicker. But everybody else I completely trust. And I think they're going to be fired up to play no matter what.
What you just said, Corey, relates back to number 5. Go for it on 4th down more. Yeah. And he goes forward a lot, but I mean, hey, you're on your opponent's side of the 50. It's automatic. We're going for it. Like
if he tries to be Tressel when he's not Jim Tressel, I'll scream. Like, dude, you are not the ball control game manager, Jim Tressel. Jim Tressel can manufacture wins out of nowhere. You can't do that. You don't have that gift. You are good at high flying offense, so be that. Try to be that.
Yeah, it is what it is at this point. We know who we were in the regular season, and I would say chances are you are what your record is and who you've been all year is who you're probably going to be in the college football playoff. And what we're asking is for Ryan Dana's coaching staff to be what they haven't been, is essentially the list I just laid out for you. And can that happen? You know, I believe in miracles. So, as a man of faith, I'm going to say
it's going to take the hand of God, Eric.
It really
take
is.
The hand of God.
It might. Hey, if we could start, listen, you can't win it all unless you win the first one, right? I think he actually said that today. It all starts with winning the first one.
I saw somebody in there saying Jim Knowles' seat is hot. Jim Knowles has been the best thing about the staff since Oregon.
No, I think I think he clarified.
No. It was somebody else. It wasn't Bootzilla.
Okay.
He's explaining that yes,
Knowles' it was up about 3 chats before that, Eric.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Day were to get removed or remove himself, that the coach coming in might not just keep.
I'm not saying. That's why I agree with Bootzilla. Yeah. If Day gets fired, Knowles will be gone. But Knowles' seat by itself is hot. No, it's not.
Well, I'm saying even if Day gets fired, Knowles might not be gone.
Okay, you're saying. Yeah,
the next coach might come in and say he's good enough. I don't want him to go anywhere.
Well, he's got his system in place now. He's got his players in place.
Yep, and that'd be the best way to keep continuity on that side of the ball. So.
There we go, Cheryl. There we go, Cheryl. She's telling everybody, let's have some faith, right? Listen, let me make this perfectly clear. Although the last 2 weeks we've been pessimistic, to say the least, Cory, Chris, and myself are not going into this game in 2 weeks rooting for Tennessee.
Oh gosh, no.
Are you kidding me? That's not going to happen. And we would love nothing more on the 22nd to come in here and be like, we win, we've won the first one. Now we can go up against Oregon here, okay?
I want the rematch with Oregon. I wanted it last week.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted it yesterday, right? Like, I was watching that game yesterday going, we would have done a better job than Penn State. Despite all our shortcomings, despite everything we saw in the game, I still think we would have given Oregon a better game in Indianapolis than what Penn State did.
Yeah, that's pretty shocking. No defense on that game.
None. But I digress, and I say this: it all starts with beating Tennessee on the 21st. And so, if we go into that game and we haven't addressed any issues in the play calling or the offensive line, or we go in there, and here's the other thing too, and I didn't really address this. I meant to say this in number 3, and I didn't get to it, but let me say it now. If we go into that game and things aren't working, the killer in you needs to say, you're out. Hey, you want a chance? Get in here, right? That is something we have seen coaches
hurt some feelings.
Yes. Right now, it's not about feelings, like I said. It's about winning this game. Mm-hmm. And if you're not getting the job done, I don't care who you are, what your last name is on the back of your jersey. If you're not getting the job done, you got to give someone else an opportunity at this point, right? So